Hello everybody, this is Lorenzo with Unicorn Riot. We're still here in Tijuana, Mexico at the Benito Juarez Center, which is now one of the different migrant centers here in Tijuana, Mexico. As you can see, all these tents here are now along this road, and that's because for a few days it was raining, it was pouring rain here. And the encampment, we're going to go take a look at it, is basically just like a lot of mud. A lot of people's stuff got wet, and so they kind of looks like they pulled a lot of it onto the street because the concrete wouldn't turn to mud. And now the camp is kind of right here. You can see lots of people still lively. Another thing that's been going on is up ahead here we're walking towards a series of buses. Those buses are going to a different migrant shelter called like the Riot. From my understanding, there's over 1,000 people have been moved over there, but not everybody wants to move. And so there's been a lot of worry we're hearing of people being moved and people wanting to stay here. And so
Mic broke.
Yeah, 1 second. Mic check. You hear me? Sorry about that. This was loose. Anyways, yeah, so you see people are eating food. They're eating. Over here it looks like there's a small circle of people. There's been also a lot of like preachers coming through, bringing like speakers, and circles of Christians would come together and pray together as they sort of wait here in stasis, wondering what's coming next. I also had another gentleman who I've seen a few days now, another person come up to me and he told me that he is now working in Tijuana. He has a visa here to work, and he's doing his best to kind of save money and try to get a little bit of apartment and just continue working. So everyone's sort of doing what they feel is fit. The other thing too today was there was a lot of rumors of a march. I'm sure if you're watching on the internet, you're probably hearing that too. We had heard about it. We don't like to share rumors, so we never really shared anything about it. We just kind of wondered if it was going to happen. Even when we were crossing the border, the people at the border, they were checking our passports. We're like, is there a march today? You all know, you're reporters. And they're like, well, we don't know. And they told us there's like police everywhere. And so a lot of people heard about that march that was supposed to happen, but then it didn't happen. And for my understanding, I feel like a lot of folks here were just sort of like, kind of just trying to figure out what they're going to do next. Like, there wasn't a lot of people talking about marches. And you can see over here, this bus right now, there's a line of folks who are getting on it. There was 4 of them before. I don't know if all 4 were filled. I didn't see them. I did see one of them leave, and it was full when it left, so that's for sure. Again, we're here in Tijuana, Mexico, where the caravans have been sort of sheltered in this area for a while now, but now it looks like the city and the state is trying to move everybody to a new location. And that's kind of been unfolding as people kind of make their decisions if they're going to go or not. You can see here. So it's like they're being read. You see they have to like sign on. And so a lot of these folks too have already been registered into this center. And so this person is walking around trying to convince people to get onto these buses. Earlier people were saying they didn't want to go. Some police kind of like told them they shouldn't be yelling that.
Para ver cuántas unidades más ocupamos, señores. Ustedes saben que yo me voy hasta que se vaya el último. Pero si la gente no se quiere ir, yo no la puedo llevar a fuerza, señores. Hemos venido luchando desde abajo.
He's asking, he's trying to figure out how many more people are going to want to move to the new center. The people don't want to go, they can stay here, but they want to know so they can bring enough buses. And so like they're saying that like all these organizations that are trying to help the migrants are going to be at this new migrant center. We've been hearing people in the camp say they don't know if that's true, they don't feel that's true. Reports from that new migrant center are sort of scattered. We haven't gone there yet. We're hoping to get there tomorrow. It is further away from the border. It's about 11 miles away from my understanding, about a 30 to 45 minute trip from what other people have told us. And so that seems very calculated to get this body of people away from this spot, which has created a lot of tension, at least in the United States, where they deployed the United States Army, they deployed a bunch of different units, they fortified all these fences. And now it looks like the Mexican government is reacting by trying to pull at least this camp further away from the wall. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with the I don't know why I did that, but a lot of it has to do with the economic impacts of shutting down the border. You see, here's this bus. I was just trying to explain what they were talking to someone. So that, I don't know if that's the last bus, and that's what this guy was trying to tell everyone, that they want to know how many more. Yeah, so he's trying to get everyone who wants to go to the news center in line, and so they can they can count them, so they know how many buses they have to bring. And so we'll see if that forms. You see, and so the other thing too that's changed, I know I've dropped a lot of information. I'm gonna try to go back there and get it to you. This is a lot going on, which is also interesting because you hear a lot of people be like, "There's nothing, nothing's going on," but really there's constantly stuff happening. There's people sort of like moving around. There's people living their lives. There's people eating food. People eating together. People praying. There's just things that are going on like all over, but nothing that's really like. I don't know, it's hard to kind of like describe it as one thing. It's so many. But what I was talking about was that I think a lot of the worry is that this closing the border costs this area so much money. And so with Trump threatening to close the border and already closing the border twice, in both those instances, there was a bunch of economic impact in the area. So much so that every one of the cab drivers we've sort of been riding with has mentioned how their fares are down, their money is down, their economy is down, because American tourists are really afraid to come over because they're worried they're going to get stuck on the side of the border gets closed. Again, we haven't seen, there was that one march that happened on Sunday, and since then there hasn't been any sort of follow-up marches. Like I said, there was a rumor today there was going to be a march, but if you've ever been in an encampment, there's a rumor almost every day there's going to be a march. There's going to be something that happens, so we do our best to sort of wait and see what does happen before we report everything. Like I was saying, you have all these tents that have been moved out here onto the street, and I assume it's because this area turned super soupy with the days of rain. So we're going to go look at that. And again, it looks, everything's everywhere, but I can't imagine what the situation was like when you're living in there and the rain's coming and everything you're in. If you're in a tent that's not like, or in a shelter, it isn't, I don't know, it's the water just creeps in on you, you know, and slowly gets everything wet, and then suddenly you're just swimming in a pool of your wet clothes. So you can see people are yeah, they're taking porta potties. All the porta potties are gone. This is all of them. No, yeah, they're taking all the porta potties out. The other day, you remember we walked through this area. There was 2 soup kitchens. They were serving food twice a day. Those are gone, and now these porta potties are going to be gone. And it looks like basically they're trying to move everybody out of here. It's slowly, at least, happening, or at the very least, there will be no real like resources here. So here's what the camp is like now. But again, there was days of rain. It was, I think, 3 days of rain. Everything was soaked. And now you have this sort of like another exodus from this area happening. And then, so all these porta potties are being taken away, which, while intense, at least it was some place where someone could go use the bathroom, and now that'll be gone. So it doesn't feel like, I said, it doesn't feel like, I don't know. People, there's all this worry about marching, but I kind of didn't. It doesn't feel like people are getting ready to march anywhere. You know, honestly, it hasn't felt that way the whole day here. Most of the time has been spent. This vehicle's coming. We're going to try and move out of the way. But most of the time it's just been spent. It looks people getting in different queues, trying to sign up into these buses that are being moved away from the border. Different sort of organizations are coming through and dropping food off and new supplies to kind of make up for all this wet stuff. And people are cleaning right now as you're watching. You know, like people are picking things up. There's all these piles slowly being created to be able to pick up what's here. But I assume that a lot of people kind of left in a rush because all their stuff was wet. And if you've ever lived in a camp and you get wet, there's not a lot of, you can't go somewhere to get dry. You know, you can't get your clothes dry because they're wet. And then you're just stuck outside. Your tent gets wet in the inside, and you're just stuck in a tent that's wet. You know, so it's like, it's pretty rough. It's a whole different experience for anybody who's used to like having a home or a car to go to, turn on the heater. You know, that's not what happens in a situation like this. Like, if you get wet, you're just in trouble, and now you're wet. And you have to deal with that, or your life could be in danger, really. So I'm thinking we can walk maybe back over here. We kind of gone through all these places. Okay, we're going to go around. All right, we'll go over here. So again, early on when we were in this area, this was all just covered in tents. Now it's just empty. A lot of people are gone. Like we showed you, there's a lot of people on the street. So I feel like there's been a lot of photos of this area showing how empty it is, but not a lot of sort of people seeing all those people, all those tents that are out there. and the hesitancy you're hearing from locals or from these folks who don't want to get on these buses. They're worried that it's some sort of trap that's going to take them away from the border, you know, and their chance to actually figure out how to go across. But then again, the state's saying that that's where all the resources are at, so we'll see. This was before just tents all the way down. You see now it's like they're all gone. They've been pulled off. What probably happened, all this water here was just piling on as people were sleeping, and then there's in a pool of water. It's really tough. I can't emphasize that enough, the difference of experience when you have shelter that's waterproof and like a place to warm yourself to, when you just don't. When you just have no option. You're just stuck in it. We keep moving. Oh, there's lots of stuff. Anyways, looks like a lot of people left a lot of things behind. And everyone is gone. Yeah, this place is basically empty. And from my understanding, that's the goal of the government, is to empty this area out and move everyone to this other area, which is allegedly big, a big shelter, but also, from what we have been hearing, doesn't have any water or doesn't have any running water or electricity. You can see all this stuff is kind of hung up to dry. A lot of like different piles of things as people kind of like sweep things together. This is the playground. These were 2 giant tents. Now they're gone. You can see they're all out of here. So you can see that the situation on the ground is constantly shifting. Now everyone's in a new center. We're going to hopefully try to go see that tomorrow. Today we're going to spend our time here and kind of just take into account what has happened since the past few days of this rain that came and sort of just drenched the whole camp. To the sense where everyone kind of lost a lot. You know, everything that's laying out here is just kind of things that were lost. So we're going to move out. Oh, we go further. Again, I'm Lorenzo, I'm your host. We are in Tijuana, Mexico, at the sort of migrant shelter where thousands of migrants have been housed in the past. Now those numbers are smaller, at least here at this center, but still there's thousands in the street out there, at least 1,000 folks. And we're hearing that's how many are at the center, a little more than 1,000. And what looks like is happening too is like there was an exodus where people left this place when it was drenched, and now as things are slowly drying off, you can see people coming in with bedrolls, different bags as they come this way. But yeah, there's tons of stuff. All right. Yeah, it's a bunch of rolls. It looks like this is like shut down due to sanitary reasons. It's just a big building and it's filled with stuff. All right. These are some bleachers. Again, this is a baseball diamond out here to our right. And this is another baseball diamond too. These two are just little playing fields as far as I've seen. And this one used to have a bunch of children in it. No, there it is. And I want to thank all of our viewers who are joining us on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, and live stream. Yeah, I guess I have live stream too. Thanks a lot for joining us. So yeah, we are live here at Tijuana, Mexico. I am Lorenzo, your host. We are just walking through this camp. Kind of show you what has changed. If you were here with us last time, you would have seen this whole area just full of tents and people. Now it's just emptied out after days of rain, so it just drenched the area. And now also from what we're hearing, there's announcements that are going to be the state was no longer going to pay for these resources here, and it looks that is turned into pulling all of the porta potties are gone. The Marines who had their 2 soup kitchens back there are gone. And it looks like this resources are slowly being pulled out as they try to get everyone to move to this other shelter. It's about 11 miles away from here. Bleachers, it's a playing field, no longer everybody playing in it. Yeah, it's a shelter. It's probably fine until it started raining, and then all of this turned to mud. This was, we saw some pictures here. This was a giant puddle of water where all this stuff is at. And so just imagine that in your shelter as water is just kind of like oozing in from all directions, and you have nowhere you can really go. So we're gonna head back out to the streets, see what's going on with those buses, and then we might just take it down. We just wanted to bring it up live and show you that we're still here. We're still kind of like monitoring what's going on. Today, like, as we crossed, there was a lot of assumptions there was going to be a march. There's a lot of rumors there was going to be a march. So much so, like we said, the border crossing guard sort of asked us about it. It was like, oh, we know you know. We heard about it, and then there was riot police sort of everywhere. And when we arrived here, there was like lines of police vehicles streaming by with riot police in them, with their sirens on. And then after a while, they all left, which very reminiscent of the last stuff that happens in places there's a march. They like to show that they have all these things. So we're moving out here. Ooh. They're trying to get all these porta potties out. This was all porta potties, no longer porta potties. And some kids, with shelters when it was made. Oh yeah. So thousands of people were using these porta potties. They get pretty intense. Anybody who's lived the porta potty life knows how that goes. But it has been. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm stuck on this side. It's moving. Ooh. Ooh. So there goes them. So again, like the government announced they were going to run out of money they were willing to put into like this area. And I guess this is what it looks like when they do that. They're just pulling out these porta potties now. They won't be here anymore. Along with that food that was delivered before by the government won't be here anymore. And now it looks like people are queuing up over here to be counted to be put on these buses to move to this news center, which is a little bit away. And also today is the inauguration of the new Mexican president. And so there's a lot of wondering what will happen now with the new president who supposedly is announces himself as like a people's, the people's, he's for the poor, he's going to help the poor. And so we'll see how that plays out in the next few days. We also have heard that he's sort of been in conversations with the United States government somehow to organize a way for people who are seeking asylum to wait here in Mexico while the case plays through. And a lot of people aren't super happy about that news, but we'll see again. Those are the things that people have been talking about. We'll see how it plays out. Well, we should maybe let's go back to where we started. So we're just gonna walk out. Let me check my phone here really quick. Again, everyone's just like waiting. They've been waiting for days, for weeks, for sort of any new information. One second here. All right, everybody. A lot of people coming through, as you can see. Just like bringing stuff, bringing music. Some people, just cars stop by and they give out supplies. And you'll see like sometimes people walk by with like these little bags that have like, there's a lot of feminine hygiene products that are being given out to women over here. Just different sort of self-care, sort of cleaning stuff like soap and things like that. Because again, if you don't have it, you can't use it. So like a lot of people are handing them out. Yeah. We're going to be walking out here. Again, I'm Lorenzo, your host. We're still here in Tijuana, Mexico. There's thousands of migrants who've come to this area. This is the original shelter. It looks like they're trying to move it to somewhere, trying to move everybody to a new shelter. And that's kind of what you're seeing now. And also you're seeing all of these tents that are now on the road. And we just walked through that space. It was all kind of emptied out because a lot of it's moved out here. All of it's moved out here because I assume it's just to get off the dirt, which is turning into mud. Or turned into mud from what we saw. Yeah, you see these circles all the time. I think this is somebody who's preaching over here. There's a lot of services today, like a lot of Christian services, a lot of pastors start wheeling out these speakers and then beginning this talk. And it's children and families. Looks like there's
what really is going on here?
All right, well, everyone, like I said, we just want to bring you in here really quick, show you what's going on. People, again, have you seen the past few days just waiting, stuck in lines, stuck in queues, wanting more information? A few days ago, they held a press conference just demanding clear information. So all of these people here can make a decision on their own of what they want to do with themselves next. And they feel there's not been a lot of clear information that's sort of like been dribbling in, and only things that, you know, the state wants people to hear have kind of seem to be reaching this area. And there's always people coming up to us, asking us for more information, asking us questions. But we ourselves don't really know either. We're kind of in the same boat where we come in here, and once we're here, this is all we know. I have no idea what anyone's talking about anywhere else. And that's kind of been our experience the last few days. But anyways, I'm Lorenzo. I'm your host. Again, we are here in Tijuana, Mexico. Just wanted to bring you the camp really quick. This is going to be a live feed of what's going on, so you can just see it for yourself. I'm sure you're hearing a lot of stuff out there. There were rumors of a march today. As far as we saw, it didn't happen. Seemed like the state really thought there was going to be a march because they had deployed all sorts of police forces everywhere, our whole route here, lots of riot police, and it's never materialized. And now people are just being moved to a new center. A lot of people want to stay here, and we're going to do our best to kind of bring out what happens next to you all. So thanks again for joining us, and thanks to all our donors for supporting us to get us here. And we just can't thank you enough. Without your support, we couldn't do this. So thanks again. Have a great day. We'll be around if anything happens.